Sir, as you know that WES is a platform where all the stakeholders and the industry is coming here and giving their own views on education and their own offerings or innovations that we talk about in today's education scenario. So what is that does that HP is offering in the education field?
Okay, here we go. HP is into education with a host of solutions, right? It's just not about selling a device or selling just the content or things like that. It's a very comprehensive platform, that talks of products, solutions, and we are also engaging with a lot of content players. So we bring the contents also together. So we give a complete end-to-end solutions in education space. So this primarily is K-12 and also for higher education. Right. So accordingly, we partner with different set of content players, and whereas the solution remains by and large the same, but the contents are the one that is going to make the difference.
Sir, what is the solution that you are offering at the higher education level and at the K-12 level? Are the solutions different, and are they in sync with the curriculum?
Okay, fundamentally, the difference that we see in the country is, I'll take the reference of Bloom's taxonomy, which says the passive learning and the active learning, the difference between the two. The passive learning is largely about merely remembering or just understanding, right? But it doesn't help beyond a point. What is important is how the students are able to apply what they have learnt and create things around it, or teach others, right? So this is what the active learning is all about. In our scheme of education, by and large, it is still a passive learning and not an active learning. So what HP brings on the table is the complete solution suite that could drive this active learning. So HP has a vision for education called total access together with true learning can only drive meaningful outcomes. You cannot have either this or that. It has to be combination of these two together, only then it will deliver the meaningful outcomes. Let's talk about total access. When you say access, it's just not about giving a device, right? Giving a device is just the first baby step. Sorry, it's just a baby. Sorry. Yeah. Giving a device to the students in the hands of students is the first baby step, right? It starts from there. What is important is how do you add the contents to it? How do you help them access the contents? And when it comes to the true learning, it's about what kind of environment, learning environment we provide in the classroom and outside the classroom. For example, the students lack a collaborative skills. They're all working in silos. That's how the scheme of education has been so far. But when they go into a corporate environment, the biggest gap is the collaborative skills, right? So the teacher, in the true learning environment can create groups in the classroom with her laptops, with her device, not asking the student to physically relocate or things like that. Students can be seated wherever they are, and still the teacher can create groups among the students and encourage the collaboration. She can, run quiz programs, and she can take assessment of the classroom or the understanding levels of the students on a real-time basis. Look at what happens in a non-ICT enabled kind of an environment. The teacher can ascertain the level of understanding only on a periodic basis, either through the monthly test or a unit test or a quarterly exam or half-yearly exam and so on. So that's quite a big gap, right? What if you know that the student or the group of students have not understood enough after 3 months of time? You can't go back in time, right? So here is a tool where you can run quiz at the end of every classroom and take an understanding of the depth of understanding by each of the students, and then accordingly fine tune the next class itself, right? So that's the biggest learning environment that I am talking about. So HP brings in a complete solution. We call it Classroom Manager, HP Classroom Manager. So that will sit on the tablet of the teacher and also on the tablets of the students. So with that software, the teacher can take attendance, the teacher can push contents, teacher can administer quiz programs, a lot of things. She can do a whole lot of things. And she can encourage the students to share their screen with the projector to the entire class. That's encouraging the student to on their presentation skills, or it's a recognition for the student that they have done something extraordinary. So they are kind of brought in the light of the other students. So it's a very, very comprehensive tool. Which is an example of true learning. Right? I'm not saying this is what is all true learning about. HP has other solution assets. We will talk about it as we go. Together with this true learning and total access, only then you can deliver the meaningful outcomes. The meaningful outcomes need not be just an educational outcome. It will automatically translate into social and economic outcomes also for the country.
With the kind of education scenario where the quality is deteriorating day by day, how HP will help the education sector to improve this quality of education? Plus, what are the steps that you are taking to train these teachers, since the teachers are not willing to accept the new technologies? Maybe they are old enough to understand, or they are old enough to not to change their mindsets. Yeah. So what is that HP is bringing to on the table and helping the teacher community as well as the students, so that the quality of education improves in India?
Yeah, I would look at it, it's a very intelligent question, but I would look at it slightly different, in the sense that it's not correct to say that teachers are not willing to adapt technology, right? It's just that they were part of that generation which did not use technology in education. Right? It does not mean they are averse to it, right? They just need to be trained and brought to speed. That's it, right? So in a way, I would take this opportunity also to thank the teacher fraternity, because we are all what we are today because of the teachers, right? So somewhere they have helped us to climb up the ladder, right? So that way, HP has built a very strong portal called HP Life, where it's all absolutely free of cost for the teachers. The teacher fraternity can log in and take all kinds of courses. It starts right from deploying technology in education or using ICT in education, how to teach and things like that. And there are also other teacher enablement platforms that HP offers, and it's absolutely free of cost.
Sir, what are the other solutions that you think would be beneficial for the education sector, especially catering to the primary sections? Because here the primary as Dr. Cheema, the Education Minister of Punjab, was also talking in his presentation, that the primary sector is one sector which is into shambles right now at present.
Yeah.
So what is that that HP can do for this primary sector so that it can evolve, and what are the best solutions that HP can offer?
Absolutely, you're bang on. In a primary education, that's where the students are actually forming, right? They are actually getting into shape. So that's the foundation. That's the underlying foundation for the entire education career for them, right? So it's important that the students at the primary schools are brought to speed, and they are introduced to the ICT, technology enabled learning process, so that the fundamentals get stronger and stronger. It's impossible to build a very strong building on a weak foundation, right? So from that way, you are absolutely right. Primary education is immensely important. So let's talk about the challenges in deploying technology in the hands of a primary education student. A kid of 7-year-old or 8-year-old, right? And give them a device like a tablet or a laptop. So it's so delicate, and they don't understand, right? They're just children, right? So there are every possibility that they could drop the device, it could damage and things like that. So looking at all these aspects, HP has built devices ground up, considering all the challenges on ground, like what we mentioned, what we talked about, right? The possibility of dropping. A study says, on an average, a student drops devices 17 times in a year, right? In that kind of a situation, what is needed? So we have built something like this, which is a very rugged device. It's drop resistant, it's spill resistant, it's dust resistant. We have also created, we have put a complete stylus, a pen tip stylus, so that they can use as a writing tool also. So it is a very, very comprehensive thought process, So we have created devices for education which would meet all the needs of them, right? And devices per se are not necessarily content consumption device. So we wanted to encourage students to create contents, and as a part of active learning that we talked about, they are required to create. Creation can be contents, creation can be devices, creation can be solutions, creation can be anything. So to encourage the student to create, we have also introduced something like this, a keyboard, where the tablet will snugly go and fit, and it becomes a content creation device. Back at home or back in school, they can just plug it and start using it as a complete full-fledged keyboard, and when they're back home or they're going back, they can just carry the tablet and go. So it's a very, very well thought through evolution that you have come out with, and it's a very comprehensive. Together with devices like this, and together with the software solutions and the contents integration through our collaborative partners, we create a complete end-to-end solution for education.
That's a very good step that you are taking to create an end-to-end solution. So which are the schools that where you see the adoption of these end-to-end solutions, and which are the sectors within the school you see the future lies, it's good for the HP also as a revenue generation part, and as educating the school or educating the students at that level?
Well, see, there is no such demarcation as these are the schools that should adapt or these are the schools that are liking to adapt. What I see as we speak is schools from even tier 3 or tier 4 cities, are reaching out to adapt solutions, right? And they want to be at par with any of the top schools in a metro, right? So nobody wants to be left behind. That's the crux. So essentially, there is no such demarcation that these schools are adapting, these schools are not adapting. But all I want to say is we encourage all the schools to come forward and look at ICT enabled schools and classrooms, with an one-to-one student device deployment, right? If you look at the current adoption of technology, it is limited to an interactive whiteboard and a projector and a teacher using an electronic content. It's okay. That's the first stepping stone, right? So that again moves the students from mere remembering to understanding, right? It does not encourage the students to create or discuss or deploy or analyze the learnings, what they have learned in the classroom. So it's important that the students get access to devices, and the schools should encourage one-to-one deployment of devices. Devices can be a laptop, can be a tablet, can be anything, right? So that the total access is given, and with the solutions like the classroom manager and things, the true learning comes into picture, which can only result in the enhanced or meaningful outcomes, right? So one of the other components of the true learning is we have something called augmented reality, right? HP has assets called HP Link Reader. It's an app which you can download from Android store, right? And you can bring in watermarked linking of the digital content which is going to stay on the cloud. For example, a book will look to be a book, right? All you need to do is in that link reader enabled book, or the interactive learning book we call it. So all you need to do is point a smartphone with the link reader app. So the book will become live. on a smartphone. It will automatically connect to the cloud, bring the content relevant to that. For example, if somebody is studying about amoeba or studying about a volcano, so all they need to do is just put on a smartphone, and the smartphone will talk about what a volcano is, or how an amoeba lives, and how the reproduction happens, and so on and so forth. So the book getting live is what this application is all about, and HP has a very strong asset around this, and we are offering this to all the schools if they want to adapt at a very nominal costing. So we made it very affordable for the student, because we want the students to get in the true learning process. So just staying with the book is not enough.
And what are the other future plans or the other future solutions that you'll be launching in the near future?
Well, HP has a very strong end-to-end asset. So we have solutions like video book. We have solutions like a complete ERP for the schools and so on. So there are many solution components that are available, and a lot of other new solutions are also on the anvil. So we have something called adaptive personalized learning, right? For example, in a classroom, say in a class of 40 students, there will be X number of students who will be below par, and there will be some students who are mediocre or at par, and there are some students who are above par, right? So in the current scheme of things, or in the current approach, everybody follows the same book. The course remains the same, but is it the justice that we are doing to that kind of an imbalance in the classroom? I don't think so. What we should do is, the students who are trailing behind, they should be given additional supportive materials so that they come at par, and people who are at par can be encouraged to learn more. So the difficulty levels of the questions or applications can be increased for them, so that they stretch their limits, and people who are already above par should be given even further tougher questions and tougher assignments and things, are encouraged to learn much larger things around it, and hence further propel them beyond their current levels. So this is possible with an HP's solution called HP's adaptive learning. So all the teacher can do is, for the students who are trailing, they can create special contents, and at a press of a button, the books will get printed for those students, which are very different from the students who are in the batch B or batch C, right? Similarly, this set of students may be trailing on maths, but they are excelling on science. So these students who are excelling on science may be trailing on maths, or vice versa. So you can create books, maths 1.1.1 or 1.3.2 or 1.4.5 and so on and so forth. Depending on, similarly you can do it for science, you can do it for, so they can just group the contents in an order which will facilitate or encourage students to learn more. So that's called an adaptive personalized learning. So there are a whole lot of solutions. I can keep talking and talking. So we have a presentation, we'll discuss about it. But that's what HP brings as a value to the education system.
Are you also working with the government sector?
Of course, yes, we are working pretty closely with the government sectors.
Any project that your HP is currently working on?
Yeah, we are working on almost all the education projects across various states.
Okay, which are the states that you are focusing on?
Wherever there are RFPs, wherever there are requests of quotes, and wherever there are new projects coming up, we work pretty closely with them.
So one last question: how WES as a platform do you think is beneficial for HP?
Well, WES, I think is helping us to get connected with the right audience, right? So I look forward to meeting the decision makers and the influencers. So this is what this forum brings in, those opportunity for us, and that's where we get benefited from WES.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope I have not taken much of your time.
No, that's